Hello, everyone. A massive warm welcome back to day 14 of our 60-day Spoken English podcast. Wow, Ishani, can you actually believe it? We are nearly a quarter of the way through this 60-day transformation journey.
It's honestly mind-blowing, Sam. If you, our listeners, have stuck around from day 1 all the way to day 13, you have already built a communication foundation that most people only dream of. You've mastered introductions, office talk, and even those high-pressure job interviews. Absolutely.
But today is different. Today, we are grabbing our imaginary suitcases and going on a journey. We are talking about travel English basics. Just stop for a second and think about this scenario. You've spent weeks studying. You feel confident. Then you land in a foreign country. Maybe you've just touched down at Heathrow in London, just like Natalie and Alice in our story.
And suddenly, reality hits. You're not in a quiet classroom with a patient teacher anymore. You're in a loud, chaotic, busy airport. There are announcements echoing, thousands of people rushing past, and English words are flying at you at 100 miles an hour. It's overwhelming, right? That's where even the best students can feel tongue-tied.
Exactly. That is why this massive deep dive episode is designed to make sure you never feel that panic. We are going to cover the travel mindset, how to listen for the gist when things get noisy. We'll master airport conversations, from checking in to handling security and understanding the secret of the red-eye flight. And finally, we'll navigate the hotel check-in and the art of the London cab ride.
We'll be using real-life dialogues from the U.S. Department of State and the story learning methods of Ollie Richards to give you the most authentic experience possible. So, listeners, grab your passport, take a deep breath, and let's get moving. Absolutely.
Let's start with the airport shock. You walk into the terminal, and there are announcements every 10 seconds. Flight BA202 is now boarding at gate 14. With the owner of a blue suitcase, please report to. Your brain starts trying to translate every single word, every single grammar point. Wait, stop right there.
Remember what we learned from our linguistic sources about extensive learning? Ollie Richards tells us that traditional classes break English into tiny, artificial nuggets of information. This is why students feel a total shock when they hear real English. In a busy airport, the noise is constant and the speakers are fast. If you try to analyze every phoneme or every verb tense, you will get derailed instantly.
So what is the strategy to survive this? It's simple. Listen for the gist. When you hear an announcement, don't try to be a translator. Be a detective. Listen only for the key words. Are they saying your flight number? Are they saying gate? Are they saying delayed? If you understand the main idea or the gist, that is more than enough to get you to your destination.
In our story, Natalie and Alice arrive in London and immediately look for a cab. Natalie doesn't panic even though it's a new city. She says, "I don't see any cabs, do you?" Notice how simple that structure is. She isn't using complex if clauses or perfect tenses. She's just communicating a basic need.
Wow, that's such an important lesson. When you're at the airport check-in desk, you need to use your power phrases from day 4. Remember, politeness is your best friend when you're traveling. Instead of saying, "I want a window seat," which can sound a bit demanding, say, "I'd like a window seat, please."
Listen closely to that D sound in I'd like. It's a small sound, but it makes you sound sophisticated and professional. It shows you have a high level of English etiquette. And what happens if you don't understand what the clerk says? Maybe they have a thick accent or they're speaking too fast?
Don't worry. Absolutely do not panic. Use a polite interruption. You can say, "I beg your pardon," with a rising intonation at the end. Or, even simpler, just say, "Can you repeat that, please?"
Wow, isn't it amazing how much pressure disappears when you realize you don't have to be perfect? The goal isn't to be a dictionary, it's to get your luggage and find your gate.
Absolutely. Now let's get into the specifics of airport vocabulary. There is a whole world of aviation English that you won't find in a standard schoolbook. Let's look at Julie and Sophie in Dialogue 3-6. Julie says, "I just bought a ticket to New York City. I'm taking the red eye."
Red eye? I remember the first time I heard that, I thought she had an eye infection. But in travel English, a red eye is a flight that leaves late at night and arrives early the next morning. It's called that because passengers usually arrive with red, tired eyes from lack of sleep.
It's usually much cheaper, but it's a workout for your body. Julie says, "Hopefully I'll be able to sleep on the plane." Wow, notice that word hopefully. It's one of the best words to use when you're traveling. It expresses a wish for the future without being too certain. Hopefully the flight is on time. Hopefully the weather is nice.
Now, let's imagine we are at the security. This is often the most stressful part of travel. The officer might ask you to step through the scanner or open your bag. If you have a package you need to put in the hold, you might say, "I'd like to check this package." Or if you're worried about your carry-on size, you might ask an indirect question. "Could you tell me if this bag is too big?"
Remember our Day 8 lesson? When you start a question with, "Could you tell me?" you have to flip your verb. You don't say, "Is this bag too big?" You say, "If this bag is too big." It sounds so much more natural.
And if something goes wrong, maybe your flight is delayed or you actually missed it, don't just stand there and say, "Oh no," in a panicked way. Say it like Jane does in our sources. She says, "Oh no, we just missed it."
Wait, look at that word "just" again. We see it everywhere. In this context, it means the action happened a few seconds or minutes ago. I just missed the bus. I just landed. It's a perfect word for travel because everything is happening in the moment.
And then adopt the no problem mindset. In our dialogues, Bill tells Joyce, "No problem, there'll be another one in 10 minutes. In a real airport, it might be an hour or two, but the phrase "no problem" keeps the situation calm. Absolutely staying calm in English is 50% of the battle when you're 5,000 miles from home.
Now, let's say you've successfully survived the airport. You've found your bags, and you're finally at the hotel reception. This is where you can really start to activate your English and use it for your personal needs.
Let's look at the interaction between the hotel receptionist and Claire in Dialogue 2-6. The receptionist starts with a warm, friendly, "Hi there, how can I help you?" Claire has a lot of errands to run. She says, "I need to get my hair cut. I also need to have my new pants hemmed." Let's look at that grammar for a second because it's very specific. Get my hair cut and have my pants hemmed.
This is called the causative structure. We use get or have when we are paying someone else to do an action for us. So, if you're at a high-end hotel in London, you wouldn't say, "I want to clean my clothes." You would say, "I'd like to have my clothes laundered, please."
Wow, that sounds so much more like a high-flying, sophisticated traveler. It changes the way people perceive you. The receptionist in our story is very helpful. She gives Claire a map and says, "There's a good hair salon here, and there's a tailor right here. Is there anything else?"
Absolutely. "Is there anything else?" is the universal hotel phrase. It's an invitation for you to ask for more help. Claire even makes a little joke. "Yes, I'll need to have my car serviced before my long drive home."
Notice how the receptionist responds, "No problem." She laughs and stresses the word "no" to show she understands the humor. In this context, "no problem" means "don't worry about it" or "it's my pleasure."
When you're checking in, don't be afraid to ask for a better room. You can use that polite, indirect structure we love. "I was wondering if I could have a room on a higher floor." Or, "I was wondering if you have any rooms with a view." Using "I was wondering if" makes the staff want to help you because you sound like a polite, respectful guest. Absolutely.
Okay, let's do a little role play. This is based on Natalie and Alice's arrival in London. They've dropped their bags at the hotel, and now they're looking for a cab to go to the famous Camden Market. I'll be Alice, you be Natalie, and we'll have a guest cab driver. Alice: there's one. Put your hand out, Natalie. Natalie: hello. Cab driver: hello. Where are you ladies off to today? Alice: we are going to Camden Market, please. Cab driver: Camden Market. Right then, jump in.
Jump in. That's such a common, informal way to say get inside the car. You'll hear that all over London and New York. The driver is usually friendly, and he asks, "What are you going to buy then?"
Natalie explains her job. Well, I'm an art historian, so I love antiques. Wow, notice the word well used as an introductory filler. Well, I'm an art historian, so I love antiques. Wow, notice the word well used as an introductory filler. It's a human gesture in speech that gives you a second to think about your answer.
The driver replies, "London is a city full of art." If you're in a cab, this is the perfect time for small talk. Use those coincidence phrases we learned on day 1. What a small world, or what a coincidence that you know about art.
And if the driver tells you something surprising, like the driver who tells Alice there are mysteries hidden in the market, respond with, "Really?" But make sure your voice goes up at the end. That rising intonation shows you are genuinely interested and listening.
Absolutely. Travel English is all about these small, spontaneous interactions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. If the driver is speaking that 100-mile-per-hour English and you can't follow, just smile and say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" It's that simple.
One thing I've noticed, Sam, is that people often get stressed about the technicalities of a cab ride, like the price or the route. You can always ask, how much will the fare be approximately? Or how long do you think it will take to get there?
Those are perfect survival questions. And remember, in many countries, it's polite to say thank you when you get out. A simple, "Thanks for the ride, have a great day," goes a long way in making a good impression.
Wow, we have covered an incredible amount of ground today, from the loud terminal of the airport to the cozy back seat of a London cab. You are now officially equipped with the tools to navigate the English-speaking world.
Absolutely. But remember, the tools only work if you use them. As Ollie Richards says, your proficiency doesn't come from just knowing the words. It comes from the time you spend integrated with the language. You have to live it.
Claps hands, we have reached the end of our Day 14 travel special. Wow, think of everything you've learned today. You know about red-eye flights, the "I'd like" versus "I want" distinction, how to get things done at a hotel, and how to handle a fast-talking cab driver.
You are doing an awesome job. Don't let the 100-mile-per-hour speed of the real world scare you. Just listen for the gist, use your power phrases, and keep that no-problem mindset.
Here is your Day 14 challenge. I want you to imagine you are checking into a high-end hotel in London. Stand in front of a mirror and practice these 3 things. Say, "Hello, I have a reservation. I'm staying for 3 nights." Practice asking for a favor. "I was wondering if you could recommend a good local restaurant nearby." End the conversation with, "Thank you so much for your help. Have a lovely day."
Record yourself on your phone. Listen back. Do you sound like Claire, friendly, light, and confident? Or do you sound a bit tongue-tied? If you're stuck, don't worry. Just remember the gist. The main idea is the most important part.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep your extensive learning cap on, keep listening to the stories, and most importantly, keep speaking.
Safe travels to all our listeners wherever you are in the world. Stay confident, stay curious, and as always, thank you and good night.